job to read it and know what it says. So the reason I say that is, why aren't you speaking to all the stakeholders? You know, that's their word. The stakeholders. The stakeholders. Our families, you know, the community, the stakeholders. Why aren't you asking the question of professional law enforcement? Why aren't you seeking our advice? Is it that maybe we'd be reasonable? Maybe we can see where the problems would be? Maybe because we're standing on that street corner with our fellow citizens, we know that they don't want this violence visiting their corners, but we've seen it. Didn't we just visit this problem with our legislature recently? Didn't they rush through bail reform? Didn't they have to admit they made a mistake? Why did it happen? It happened because they rushed it in the dark of night without speaking to, you know, the stakeholders. The stakeholders. They talk about transparency. Me too. We want to be transparent. You can only have transparency if you're being honest, having the discussion, having the dialogue. Defund the police department. Ask different folks. What's the definition? Get rid of the police? Defund the police? Shift the money around? It's a slogan. It's a slogan during a protest. I admire it because it's open to so many definitions. We went out on the streets to do a job. We went out in the street during this violence. We went out in the street because we knew we had to. City Hall asked us and ordered us to, and the brass put us out there. But then what we found out, there was no plan. There wasn't enough of us. We weren't up planning on stopping the violence. The violence visited us. We have district attorneys from all our counties, from many of our state, saying we will not prosecute criminals who looted, not protested, who looted, who rioted. Our DAs won't prosecute them. But you know what's on the hearts and mind of everybody that has a shield in their hip pocket today? That who the DA did prosecute was a police officer whose boss sent him out there to do a job, was put in a bad situation during a chaotic time. And you know what? My gray hair told me it was going to happen. Everybody walked away from them. There was no longer a boss standing next to him like it was that night. The brass threw them under a bus, not saying it's our fault, we didn't have a plan, we asked them to go out there. The DAs to say, we don't have time to prosecute criminals, but we'll prosecute you. Talk about de-escalation. They're de-escalating their job. They're refusing to do their job. They're asking us to pull back. They're asking us to pull back. They're asking us to walk away from you. They're asking us to abandon our communities. They're asking me to walk away from where I live. They're asking me to walk away from where I work. They're asking us to walk away from the neighborhoods that we brought back. And that's what's happening. And you know what? We don't have a choice. If we put our hands on the criminal, you're going to jail. I'm not being dramatic. That's how bad it is. No one's read the bills. They're following the crowd. What's the joke? I'm the leader. Where's my people? Let me catch up with them. They're legislating by signs in a protest. We have our leadership who think they'll appease the criminals, who think they'll appease the rioters. They think they'll appease our critics. You know what my job as a New York City police officer is? When I put that shield on my chest, I put that patch on my shoulder, my job at that protest is to stand on my own 2 feet. My job and your job is to make sure we protect your right to say what you believe as loud as you want, wherever you want. And we'll stand that line. We'll stand that line and protect that right. But when I'm standing that barrier line, what I don't have is a personal opinion. My job is to protect yours. So when we see our leaders tactically putting themselves on the ground, when we see our leaders joining the other side of the barrier, whether we personally agree or not, you're derelict in your duty. You stand the line. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're angry, but it makes no difference because we stand the line. We stand the line on our feet, with our shoulders back, with our shield out, saying, I'm here to make sure you're good. Now, if I want to go across that line, if I'm the brass of this job that wants to jump over the line and go on the ground, then throw in a 28. Take your time. Go home, change, and come back and do it on your own time. Don't do it on the time of the citizens. Don't do it on my time. Don't do it on the backs of our members. And then when it goes wrong, and a DA says we're going to lock you up, you should be standing next to them saying, I'm the leader. I sent them out. I should take the hit. I should get locked up. But don't hold your breath. We're not going to see that because they've walked away. I know many times when myself and my fellow union leaders take this microphone, folks think, well, they got to be a little bombastic and they got to be dramatic. I couldn't tell you how more serious I am. A while back, we had a press conference where we turned our flag upside down. I said we're under distress. They said we're under distress, and nobody listened. I don't want the neighborhood I worked in, that I brought back, that we brought back, I don't want it to slide back. Homicides, 5 to 13. Shootings, 40 last week, the highest since 2015. 7 shootings in 4 minutes, 8 shootings in 5 hours in different neighborhoods in our borough. Disconnected. Don't be fooled. It's not some gang guy running around town shooting everybody. It's separate incidents. Ask yourself, why do they feel emboldened to do it? Because there's no consequence, there's no cops, and we're held back. We look great in our blue uniforms. We look great when we're standing straight up on the corner. But the message of a soft touch means you look great, but don't get yourself dirty. You look great, but look like a potted plant. Some of the things I'm saying you've all heard before. Those of us that grew up in this city understand what I'm saying. That's the police department we left behind. We, in this city and state, are the most restrained police department in the country. The most restrained police department in the country. Ask Minneapolis if they're the same. We don't defend, we won't defend, we have not defended. I will defend those that stand here. I will defend my family. I will defend our citizens, both here and who are now in phase 1 going back to work. Why did the crimes happen? We're pulled back, we're demonized, and all the cops had to run to Manhattan, out of the boroughs, to stop looters. That's why it happened. It's my honor also to stand here with others that represent so many. And it's my honor to introduce Richie Wells to come up here, a man that is on the front lines with us for many, many years, and many of our police officers he represents. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Pat. Morning. I'd like to address the ramifications